Pajamas. All right, so we're back. We're going to start talking about things that go beyond Mendel's laws. So, what we saw previously in our Punnett squares when we had the traits being dominant or recessive, and even heterozygous individuals, so they had a dominant and recessive allele, still showed the dominant trait. We actually call that Mendelian genetics. And the reason why we call it that is because that's what Mendel studied when he was looking at the pea plants. However, with humans, we actually don't follow those rules. A lot of the things that govern our genes go well beyond Mendel's laws. And that's what we're going to start talking about today. We're going to talk about two of them, including incomplete dominance and codominance. So, let's start off with incomplete dominance. So, let's see. Incomplete dominance versus codominance. All right. So in incomplete dominance, neither allele is dominant to the other. Neither one is dominant to the other. It also means neither one is recessive to the other. So, for example, let's say we have a red flower. That means it's homozygous for the red allele. And we cross it with a white flower. It's homozygous for the white allele. So when we get the offspring, and the offspring are heterozygous, meaning they have a red allele and the white allele, when it's incomplete dominance, that means we see an in-between. So the traits kind of mix and blend together to show some sort of intermediate. And what do you get when you mix pink and white? Sorry, I gave the answer. What do you get when you mix red and white? You get pink. So the flowers from these crosses are pink. So that's what it means to be incomplete dominance. Neither one is dominant over the other. So as a result, the traits blend together to make a whole new expression. Now, I've seen the alleles for these written different ways. I've seen them where they use two different letters, so maybe R for the red alleles and W for the white. I've also seen that used for codominance, and I think it works better for codominance. I'll talk about why when we get to there. A lot of times I've also seen them written as a letter and letter prime, meaning, let's say for this one, we can use R, capital R, for homozygous red, and we can use R prime for homozygous whites. Then the offspring gets one of each, R prime, they're heterozygous, and now you get the pink color. So let's do an example of this, shall we? All right, well, since we're on the topic of this, let's look at what happens when we cross maybe two pink flowers. How about that? So we have R prime, R prime. So we're starting out with two pink flowers. And when we go through, we're going to do our monohybrid cross just like before. So R prime, R prime, R prime. Now, overall, does it really matter what comes first, the R or the R prime? No, just stay consistent. Don't be like R prime here, and then R prime, R there. A lot of times people put the R prime last just because it does have that little extra thing added to it, but overall, it doesn't really matter. As long as you stay consistent. All right, so let's analyze this. We have one box that is two plain R's. So 1 out of 4 boxes, or 25%, show RR, and will be red. Then we have 2 boxes, or 2 out of 4, or 50% chance that the offspring will be R prime, which means they will be pink. And then we have 1 out of 4 boxes, or 25% chance that the offspring will be R prime, or white. Now, something to make sure that we clarify when we talk about the probability, we're not saying that there are going to be 4 offspring and this is what they're going to be. We're talking about for each offspring that is born from this cross, it has a 25% chance of being red, a 50% chance of being pink, and a 25% chance of being white. That's what we're talking about. All right. So now, let's move on and do one more example for codominance, all right? Sorry, incomplete dominance. So one more example. Let's say we have these cute little aliens. They come in a blue variety, little alien puffballs, and that would be BB. They also come in a red variety. B prime, B prime. Now, what do you get when you mix red and blue? When you mix them, you get purple. So the intermediate offspring, if they're heterozygous, B prime would be purple. So what would happen if we mix a purple alien with a red alien? Well, let's check it out. B prime, and red is B prime, B prime. So B prime, B prime, B prime, B prime, B prime, B prime. That means that for that offspring, they would have a 50% chance, or 2/4 of the boxes, of being B prime, which is purple, or a 50% chance. Sorry, trying to do a couple of things and right sideways, of being B prime, which is red. All right. So far, so good? Good. Let's move on to codominance. Now remember, in incomplete dominance, neither allele is dominant to the other. In codominance, both of the alleles are dominant. Dun, dun, dun. So going back to our flower example, if we have a homozygous red flower and we cross it with a homozygous white flower, now remember, when alleles are dominant, they have to be seen. They will be shown. They will be expressed. Now, since both of those alleles are dominant, that means we have to see both traits. So when we have a heterozygous offspring, we will end up with flowers that have some red portion and some white portion. So they end up being kind of like splotchy, blotty, spotted, things like that. We're actually going to see both colors distinctly. So you can tell how that's different here. Here the colors blended to make something new. Here we're going to see both colors distinctly. All right, so putting this in terms of genotypes, a lot of times I do see codominance written as 2 different letters, more often than I do with incomplete dominance, and this is actually why. So R for red, W, W for white. And then that means the offspring would be R, W, because you will see both red and white coloration. That's why I more often see this for codominance and incomplete dominance, because having two different letters reminds you that you should see two different colors or two different traits. Not traits, sorry, expressions of that one trait. So let's go back and do some examples. We're going to continue on using our little aliens. So BB, they're blue. RR, they're red. And if we get one of each, we end up with, what am I doing with that? So if we get BR, we end up with offspring that have both blue and red colorations. So we actually see both colors. So let's do an example of this, shall we? Great. Well, why don't we just go ahead and show the same cross we did before? Nah. Let's show the original cross. Let's show the one like that, except with the aliens. So we're going to end up with a blue parent and a red parent. And what we're going to end up getting, let's see, drop the B, bring the R, drop the B, bring the R, drop the B, drop the B there because I'm tired of switching markers, bring the R's, and we end up with all of the boxes, 100% chance of the offspring having the genotype BR, which means that the offspring of this blue and this red alien are going to be mixed, or not mixed, but blue and red. So blue parent plus red parent equals blue and red babies. So that's what we're talking about with codominance. I hope that kind of helps explain the two of these. If you're wondering about an example of this in humans, blood type. If we look at the A and B alleles, you can be blood type A, you can be blood type B, or if you have one of each, you are blood type A and B. But we're going to explain that on a different video. All right, so until next time, you guys stay healthy, stay well, and adios.